Hello everyone, welcome once again. Today we are going to study a new chapter, that is friction. As we have talked a bit about friction in previous chapter, that friction is the force that opposes the motion of the between two objects. So here is the definition of friction. Friction is a force that opposes the relative motion between two surfaces of objects. Objects having two surfaces, in their contact, the friction opposes the motion in both of them. The force of friction always acts in the opposite to that of the applied force. If you are applying force on the same direction, then the friction will act in opposite direction of it. What are the different causes of friction? What causes friction? Let us see that. Friction also exists between two surfaces due to irregularities. Means the surface should be rough. Rough surface exerts friction on it. On the surface of the object in contact, interlocking of micro level irregularities of the two surface and plowing of harder surface into smoother surface. So these all are the reason which causes friction. There are irregularities on the surface, interlocking of micro level and plowing of harder surface into smoother surface. Now what are the different factors that affect friction? Factors are roughness of the surface. How rough the surface is, according to that friction will work, the extent to which two surfaces press together and the nature of the surface. These are the three factors that affect friction. First one is roughness of the surface. Second one is the extent to which the surface press together, and third one is nature of the surface. Now let's look at the different types of friction. The friction are of three types. First one is static friction. When a body is at rest, the force of friction is called the static friction. Body is at rest. At that time, if any force is applied, that type of force is called static friction and is always equal and opposite to the applied force, so the body will not move. That means if a body is at rest and a force is applied to move that body and that body is not moving, in that case we can see that it has static friction because equal and opposite force is applied on it and the body will not move. The force of friction which acts on the body is just the average of sliding on the surface is called limiting friction. This is also called limiting friction. The second type of friction is sliding friction. Sliding friction is the friction which opposes the actual relative sliding motion between two contact surfaces. Sliding friction is smaller than static friction. So sliding friction is the friction which opposes the actual relative sliding motion between the two contact surfaces. It acts as sliding motion between the two surfaces. Third type of friction is rolling friction. Rolling friction is the frictional force that exists between two surfaces when a body rolls over the other. Rolling friction is smaller than sliding friction. So this is what static and sliding and rolling friction is. The most is having larger is static friction. After that comes sliding friction and after that comes rolling friction. So the largest friction is static, after that sliding, after that rolling friction. So this is the order for static, sliding and rolling friction according to their sizes. Now what are the different effects of friction? Friction produces heat, it causes wear and tear, and it opposes motion. These are the three effects of friction, as it produces heat and it can cause wear and tear and it can oppose motion. These are the three effects of friction. Now what are the different advantages of friction? Advantages of friction are friction between pen and paper. Whenever we write anything on the paper with the help of pen, there is a frictional force acting on it, and due to this frictional force we are able to write with the help of pen on the paper. So as we have seen, in case of effects of friction, friction produces heat. Whenever two objects are just striken with each other, they produces heat, so there is a friction between them. Friction causes wear and tear. If your hand will just strike to the wall or any of the rough surface, there will be wear and tear, there will be damage to your skin. That is because of the friction between your hand and the wall. And friction opposes motion. If you'll just apply any friction on your hand, it will opposed by the opposite side. Now advantages of friction, the pen and paper, we are able to write with the help of a pen on a paper because of the frictional force of the pen. Friction between our feet and the ground allows our movement like standing, walking and running. We are able to stand, walk or run due to the friction between our feet and the ground. Similarly, as there was friction between pen and paper due to which we are able to write, similarly the friction between our feet and the ground enable us to perform different activities like walking, standing and running. Third one is friction between surface of the road and tires of our vehicle. The surface of the road and tire of vehicle, the tires are able to move with the help of this friction force only. There is friction between the surface of the road and the tire which allows the vehicle to move without slipping. So that is what happens when there is rain. After the rain, the surface becomes smooth and there could be the chances of slipping of the vehicles. So due to reduced friction, there could be slipping of vehicles. So the vehicles are moving on the roads due to friction only. After that comes disadvantages of friction. Friction causes moving object to stop or slow down. It can stop or slow down the object due to the reduced friction. Friction produces heat causing wastage of energy. Whenever there is striking between two objects, the friction takes place and it causes heat, and the wastage of heat energy is there. Friction causes wear and tear of moving body parts, machinery, soles of shoes. There is wear and tear to the different body parts or the different machineries. Now friction is necessary evil. It is evil but still it is necessary. As friction is advantageous or to us, it is considered as a friend, but due to its disadvantages, it is a foe. It is both friend and foe to us. Depending on the circumstances, it can be help or hindrance. Now, increasing friction and reducing friction. By pressing the surface together more strongly, for example, when brakes are applied on bicycle or car, the brake pads press against a moving part and the force of friction increases. As the force of friction increases, there will be stoppage. Friction can be increased by the roughness of the surface in contact. For example, treading of the shoes and tire is done to increase friction. Another was, how can we reduce friction? Friction between the sliding surface of the two objects can be reduced by making the surface contact smooth by polishing them. More the surface will be roughed, more will be the friction. Less the surface will be rough, or we can say more the surface will be smooth, there will be less friction. Sliding friction between the moving parts of vehicle and machinery can be reduced by using oil, grease and graphite. Rolling friction is less than sliding friction, hence sliding friction is replaced by rolling friction by using rollers like ball bearings between the hub and axles in the moving parts of machines and vehicles. And friction is reduced by providing wheels, example suitcase, bag, school's bag of kids. Aeroplane, boat, fishes and birds which move through fluids have bodies of special shape called streamlined shape so as to reduce the friction due to fluid and avoid the energy loss. So these all are the advantages and disadvantages of friction. We need it as well as it is a disadvantage to us. So that's all about this chapter. I hope you have understood it well. For more details of this chapter, stay connected to my channel. Thank you and have a good day to all of you.